Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross. Let's start with a trade that happened this weekend where the Cowboys moved 5th and 6th round picks for wide receiver Brandin Cooks.
That's a big-time move for the Cowboys. Big-time move that I feel like they desperately needed. Very, very helpful for them to get Brandin Cooks in there. I think he can still play at a high level, especially with a quarterback like Dak, who I'm a fan of. But I think they needed someone with Cook's speed to really take the top off the defense. So, and 5th and 6th round picks aren't that much. Plus, they have the Texans paying $6 million of his salary. So I think the Cowboys only have to pay $12 million to get a speed threat opposite CeeDee Lamb. Big fan of that move for the Cowboys. They really needed it. 5th and 6th round picks. Man, a lot of times those guys don't even make your team. Honestly, who cares? And so I really liked every aspect of that. Brandin Cooks, by the way, is not even 30 years old. He's now been traded 4 times. That's incredible. I mean, that's hard to do.
Tuck's Takes.
The Texans signed Laramie Tunstall to a 3-year, $75 million deal with $50 million of that guaranteed.
How did you say his first name?
Laramie?
Laramie.
What do you say, Laramie? Or
yeah, it's Laramie Tunstall.
Laramie. It's
Laramie. Laramie. Jack, you guys step up your game, bro. This is the second time he's the highest paid offensive lineman of all time. 3 years, $75 million. So $25 million a year. He resets the market for what offensive tackles make. $50 million fully guaranteed. I love this. Remember, he's the draft gas mask guy that fell in the draft because that video got released. Now in 2020, he got $20 million a year and was the first guy to do that. Now in 2023, he gets $25 million a year, and he's the first guy to do that. Awesome. And he's his own agent. Love me some Laramie Tunstall. And by the way, he's done it on a team that stinks. So you talk about professionalism. That guy comes out there and plays his you-know-what off every week for a team that's been garbage the last couple of years. I don't think I've ever met him. I would like to, because I'm a big fan of the way he goes about his business.
Tuck's Takes.
The Buccaneers signed running back Chase Edmonds. The Seahawks signed linebacker Devin Bush and safety Julian Love, while the Colts bring in quarterback Gardner Minshew, and the Panthers signed Adam Thielen, and Tennessee signs quarterback Sean Murphy-Bunting.
Not sure what happened with Edmonds in Denver, but obviously I really liked Edmonds when he was in Arizona. He's a local boy here in Harrisburg. Devin Bush was just a really bad pick by the Steelers. It doesn't happen often. They traded up for him, and maybe a change of scenery will help him, but wow, he struggled in Pittsburgh. Julian Love, I thought the Giants would bring him back. That was surprising. Nobody loves safeties like the Seahawks. Nobody. Then you've got Gardner Minshew. That's a good signing by Steichen. First of all, he knows the offense really well from the last 2 years, so he can help teach the rookie that they're going to draft the offense. Plus, who knows when the rookie will be ready? So Minshew probably gets to start the opener for the Colts. And Steichen probably told him, listen, man, you ball out, I'm not going to take you out. I mean, if the Colts are winning every game, they're not going to take Minshew out. So he's got his shot. I do like the way the Carolina Panthers are feathering the nest. You know what that term means, Jack?
Feathering, isn't that just like kind of, feathering? I don't know. I know building a nest, it's like darts and sticks. I don't know about feathering. It's kind of adding to it, I would imagine.
Yeah, so like feathering the nest is like kind of like what you do when you're about to have a baby, like, and you get the nursery ready and you get the pillows and like, you're like, you know, it's just an expression, feathering. You don't need to know about that for a while. But the Panthers are probably going to have a young quarterback. I mean, they're definitely going to have quarterback. So they got Miles Sanders. They got Adam Thielen. They get, Hayden Hurst. So they're putting the rookie quarterback in a good position with good skill guys around him. And the Murphy-Bunting news just actually came down this morning. The Titans, they're not conceding anything. I mean, it's a little bit of a rebuild there, but with the signings they've made, Titans are trying to be competitive this year.
Tuck's Takes.
The Chicago Bears make a plethora of signings, bringing in quarterback P.J. Walker, defensive tackle Andrew Billings, running back Deonta Foreman, and tight end Robert Tonyan.
Well, they had a ton of money, so they had the ability to make moves like this, and that's exactly what they're doing. And they should do it. Foreman looked good in Carolina last year. Billings is a run-stuffing D tackle. I like P.J. Walker because he's athletic. He can run the exact same offense if Fields goes down, which is not the case with Trevor Siemian. And Tonyan, I don't know. I always thought he was good. I mean, I always thought Tonyan played at a high level in Green Bay. I don't really know what the deal was there that they didn't want him back. Maybe he was an Aaron Rodgers favorite and they were ready to move on.
Tuck's Takes.
Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter enters a plea deal with no jail time.
I think he just had to get it resolved. He had a terrible pro day last week. The kid, he's in a bad place. And so he will immediately now become like the most intriguing option in the draft because he's probably the best player or at least the best prospect. But now with, the off the field stuff and then he's gained weight and he couldn't get through all his drills, we'll see. I'll be very curious to see just how far he falls in the draft. I don't think it'll really be that far. He's that good, and he has been for 2 years, and people will believe that if they've got him, they can make sure he's on the straight and narrow. But he needed to get this legal situation resolved so the teams at least knew what the deal was.
Tuck's Takes.
The Steelers signed linebacker Landon Roberts, and they cut Miles Jack.
Steelers, that's the second linebacker they signed in Pittsburgh this offseason. Has not worked out. I mean, they let all their linebackers go. Miles Jack, Devin Bush, Spillane, I think, went to the Raiders. The Steelers were more than happy to move on from their linebackers. Interesting.
Tuck's Takes.
The Giants bring in wide receiver Paris Campbell, and they bring back Darius Slayton. Or they re-sign him.
Yeah, so honestly, Slayton's always been I've always thought Darius Slayton's played well. I don't know. I was a little surprised he didn't get more love on the open market. And Campbell kind of gives him a speed guy that they didn't really have, like a take the top off the defense guy, which is a threat that's nice to have. He just has been unable to stay healthy.
Tuck's Takes.
The Lions sign offensive lineman Graham Glasgow and defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
So the Glasgow thing is interesting because he was a Lion for a while. Then he got a big free agent deal to go to Denver. So he went out there. Didn't really work out in Denver. So now the Lions bring him back. Lions are loading up, man. They look good. As for the Gardner-Johnson thing, I think, Jack, this is going to be my Labatt Blue take of the week. Presented by Labatt Blue Light. It's the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Enjoy your beers together so you can live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly beer. Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. I hate situations like this because we don't have all of the information. I also hate situations like this because it feels like a player or his agent, I don't know if it's player, I don't know if it's agent, at some point either overplayed their hand or misread the market and cost themselves money as a result. It reminds me a little bit of the Orlando Brown situation where it's like something wasn't right with Orlando with the Ravens, good organization. He goes to Kansas City. Kansas City offers him a bunch of money. He says no, goes to Cincinnati for less money. Makes you scratch your head a little bit. Then there's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's in New Orleans. They offered him a contract extension, which, by the way, had to be more than this Lions offer. He didn't like it, turned it down. Things went sideways. The Saints end up trading him. He goes to Philadelphia, has a phenomenal year. I've seen what his agent tweeted. I don't know what the deal is. I know this. Once it's two teams, to me, the agent and player lose the benefit of the doubt, right? For Orlando Brown, it was the Ravens and the Chiefs both kind of like shied away. Makes you wonder. And then with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the Saints were like, we'll trade you. The Eagles made an offer, but then they moved on. When it's multiple teams, I no longer give the benefit to the player and or the agent, but I don't like when a player gets less money than they seemingly could have. For Gardner-Johnson, maybe it would have been with the Saints. I don't know, maybe with the Saints or the Eagles. Something's not right there in both those situations.
Tuck's Takes.
2014 me is ecstatic. The Philadelphia Eagles signed quarterback Marcus Mariota alongside quarterback Greedy Williams.
Why is 2014 Jack ecstatic?
I loved Oregon for some reason. I'm wearing the Oregon jersey for those watching on YouTube, which is coincidentally Marcus Mariota. I don't know if it was just, I don't know what about Chip Kelly's Oregon Ducks. It was the jerseys, the hurry up offense. I loved all of it. And of course, that just led to Mariota being the face of that, and then Eagles being linked to him with Chip Kelly. I was on the train of Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, 3 first-round picks, move up to number 2 and take him. I didn't care what it was. I just wanted him.
Yeah. Well, that's why you were at the time, 15 years old, 12 years old?
13.
13. What year were you born?
2000. I was at the dead end of 2000. So, I get 3 days of, being that year and whatever, that age of that year, and then I'm a year behind.
2000. Wow. Well, it's a good thing you were 13 years old and not the Eagles general manager at the time, because that would have been a horrific trade, Jack. Mariota is a really good fit as an experienced veteran backup that can run the same offense. And Greedy Williams, I'm not really quite sure what happened with him in Cleveland. Never really quite played to his potential there. A lot of injuries.
Tuck's Takes.
The Patriots signed tight end Mike Gesicki, and they let go defensive back Jalen Mills.
Would not be surprised if Jalen Mills ends up back in Philadelphia. We'll have to see how that plays out, because he has sort of that versatility that Gardner-Johnson brought to the table. And then for Gesicki, the tight end market's been slow. Dalton Schultz still hasn't signed anywhere, which is a little bit bizarre. And Gesicki kind of took what he could get, which is less than he got last year from the Dolphins on the franchise tag. I like that signing by the Patriots. They know what he is, and they're going to be able to utilize him.
Tuck's Takes.
Chargers safety Nazir Adderley is retiring.
After 4 years, that's a little bit of a head scratcher to me. I read his Instagram post, and it just sounds like it wasn't for him. It sounded like whether it was the pressure or the injuries or whatever, it sounds like he wants to move on. That's interesting, though, because he went to Delaware. Is he a Philly kid, Jack?
I'm not sure, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I know he went to University of Delaware. And so I wonder if because a lot of those guys are typically, he's from Philly.
Yeah, he went to Great
Valley in Malvern. That is interesting. That makes you wonder if perhaps the Eagles could have a conversation with him and say, "Are you sure you want to retire? We have a need at safety now with Gardner-Johnson leaving." So you never know. It's always a little bit dangerous when a guy is retiring because you wonder where he's at mentally. But to retire after 4 years is interesting. And he did it a few days into free agency. So it's almost like maybe he was waiting to see if he got a certain type of offer. And if he did, he would keep playing. But he didn't, so he's done. Maybe he's just kind of getting minimum offers. I don't know. Interesting situation.